Hey guys, MetalJesus here. Now, to say I was excited for Cyberpunk 2077 when it launched would be a massive understatement. As you can see by all the stuff in front of me, when this game was announced, I was all in. This was gonna be a game I was gonna anticipate for years, primarily because I really loved The Witcher 3, and I also really love Cyberpunk games, and so this seemed like it was gonna be just the perfect game for me. And so the build up for the launch of this game, as you guys probably remember, was massive. There was a ton of stuff, in the media. You could buy stuff in stores like action figures, and there was all this anticipation. And I bought into it hook, line, and sinker. Now, as we all know, when the game launched, it had a pretty rough launch, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I played it originally on the Xbox Series X, and my experience actually was overall fairly positive. There were some bugs, but overall I actually really enjoyed the game. But as you guys know, over the years, well, thankfully CD Projekt Red hasn't abandoned the game. They've actually put out a bunch of patches and also brand new DLC. And so now feels like the perfect time to kind of bust all this stuff out, share with you my Cyberpunk 2077 collection, because I am very excited to replay the game. And as you can see here, I've got a lot of really cool stuff to go through. Obviously, collector's edition figures. I've got some E3 stuff. I've got some jackets and some pullovers. I even got some Rockstar drinks. It's gonna be pretty cool. Let's take a look. Now, before we get started, I do want to mention that this video is not sponsored by CD Projekt Red. Most of this I've actually had either before the game shipped or right around launch, but yeah, let's dive in. I'm going to start where it all kind of began for me, and that is with this E3 statue. This was given out at E3 in LA back in 2018 to media who got a preview of the game. And at the time that preview was the hottest ticket at E3, I couldn't believe I was going to get access to it. And I went with Kelsey, and that just started the hype. This is the girl that was featured in the first teaser trailer for the game, and I love how she's got those mantis blades sticking out of her arms. This for me started the hype for the game, and I was definitely on that train. A year later, in 2019, CD Projekt Red did another preview at E3, and I was lucky enough to also go to that one. And as a parting gift, if you were lucky enough to attend that, they gave out these really cool jackets. What's neat about this one is that it's completely reversible. So depending on if you like the really bright yellow or not, well, you can make it however you want. It's pretty awesome. It's very high quality too. Here's something kind of cool. Now, I mentioned that there was a ton of hype even outside the gaming industry, and you see that here. What you have here is a collab between Cyberpunk and Rockstar energy drinks. Now, this was the media kit that they would send to people who are influencers. When you dig inside the box, on the top there is a baseball cap, and then you have a nice hoodie as well. And I'd be tempted to wear this. It's actually the right thickness for Seattle. But as a collector, I'd hate to ruin it. So I'm kind of like, should it just live in the box? I don't know, I'm torn. And then underneath all that, you have 6 different cans of Rockstar energy drinks. Now, they had 5 different flavors, and I believe one of these was a new flavor, although I typically don't drink this stuff, so I'm not entirely sure. But it's cool that each can is themed around Cyberpunk, as you would expect, and they look really cool. Now, they did a contest with this, if you would find them in stores. So basically, you could get digital prizes, and there was a chance to win a 1970 custom Mustang. I guess this was a real Ford Mustang, and I would love to know where this ended up, because it's pretty badass looking. Here is the Johnny Silverhand figure, which of course is played by Keanu Reeves in the video game. It's a 12-inch figure created by McFarlane Toys, which I'm a huge fan of. They make excellent figures. And I love how Johnny is in full rock star pose with this. It's so cool looking. Here's the most recent acquisition. It took me forever to find one of these in good condition and in a box. Of course, it is the special edition Xbox One console with the controller. I think this is probably one of my favorite special edition gaming consoles in my collection. I just feel that they nailed the look and feel of Cyberpunk with this console. Now, the irony is, this is not the best place to play the game, unfortunately. But if you're a fan like me, you had to have it in the game collection. And speaking of collector's edition, this is the PlayStation 4 version of the game, and it is a massive box. Inside of here is a really cool statue of the main character V. So he's crashing his motorcycle into a bad guy, and then he's leaping over him while shooting his guns. Man, it's so cool looking. It's incredibly detailed, and I love the design of this and just the action of it all. It's almost like it defies gravity. It's definitely one of my favorite statues in my entire game room. But that's not all that is included in that massive box. You also have a hardcover art book. This is pretty interesting if you want to get a little bit of a behind the scenes look into the design of the game. They talk about everything from the different districts to the different styles of clothing and vehicles. It's pretty cool. Underneath that, you have a guide to Night City, as well as a collectible steel case. And then in these 4 slots here, you have these little boxes, and each one of them has a little trinket in there. And so the first one here is a pretty heavy Quadra VTech metal keychain. In this box, you have a metal pin set. Up here you have some stickers, and then next to that are a bunch of patches. I guess you could put these patches, well, I guess you could put them either on the jacket or you could also put them on the hoodie. Now you may have noticed that I didn't open that copy on the PlayStation 4 because I bought the Xbox One version because there would be an upgrade to the Xbox Series X version, which is where I played it. But even in the standard version of the game, you had more goodies, including a map of Night City. There is a world compendium, and there are 3 postcards from Night City. And CD Projekt Red is known for doing this. Even the standard version on the Switch of The Witcher 3 came with little, like, I think it had like a manual and a couple little collectibles as well. So they're kind of known for doing that. Now let's move into my office where I have a Cyberpunk pre-order ad that was hung up in my local GameStop. And so shout out to Andrew, who was the manager that worked there, who knew I was really excited for the game, and he gave me that. And then finally, at my desk here, I'm sitting on it right now as I'm recording this, is the Secret Lab Titan chair. This was released back in 2020. And it just so happens that I saw this was going up for pre-sale, and I needed a new chair. I hadn't had a chair in probably about 10 years, and it was time to upgrade. And this was pretty hard to get at the time. I jumped on it, even though it was kind of expensive, but I love it so much. And so that, guys, is my Cyberpunk 2077 collection so far. I have to say that I'm very glad that CD Projekt Red stuck with the game and worked on it until, most of the complaints were addressed, I think. And maybe it helps that people like me who have collections like this not feel so weird because the game has improved so much. At least that's what I tell myself. But anyways, guys, I would love to know what your impression is of Cyberpunk 2077 now that all the updates have come out and there's new DLC. And as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.